everyone, welcome to Tech with Saara. In this session, we will be talking about NLP pre-processing techniques, that is preparing text for smarter models. Now, we all know that natural language processing is all about dealing with text. And that is why preparing text, transforming raw text into clean, structured data that powers intelligent language models is one of the first and foremost aspects of NLP. Well, firstly, let us understand why pre-processing text in NLP is really important. Well, raw text is inherently messy, it is unstructured, it contains inaccuracies, inconsistent formatting, it contains a lot of typos and irrelevant noise. Now, if we pass this raw text as data to an NLP model, it would give inaccurate results. Also, it would confuse machine learning models. And that is why pre-processing would transform this entire chaos into clean, standardized input that algorithms will actually be able to understand. Talking about the three main reasons why pre-processing text in NLP is important, well, it leads to better data quality. It in fact removes noise and inconsistencies from the data, and this leads to higher accuracy. Models now are able to learn meaningful patterns, and this leads to faster training because all of the irrelevant noise, punctuation variations, typos from the data is removed. It now leads to reduced complexity that leads to higher accuracy and faster training. Well, now that we have understood why pre-processing text in NLP is really important, let us straight away dive into the NLP pre-processing techniques. Well, the first crucial step is lowercase conversion. Well, what all is the input text we have, we would ensure that everything is present in the same case. There should not be any kind of difference in case, which leads to case sensitivity issues, and that is why lowercase conversion ensures there is uniformity in your data. Well, the next step is to remove unwanted characters. Now, from the input text that you are providing, strip out punctuations, numbers, special characters, HTML tags, any kind of elements that are non-textual. Now, these non-textual elements would not contribute in any way to understand or process the data. And that is why these are the unwanted characters. And that is why removing these unwanted characters ensures that we only have the textual elements that are actually required for NLP. Well, the next step is to standardize format throughout. We must ensure that we are creating uniform, clean text ready for deeper processing. We must ensure that we do not have any kind of non-textual elements, any kind of differences in case, or any kind of different format data present in the input that we are providing. So that is why text cleaning that involves lowercase conversion, removal of unwanted characters, and standardization of format is the first and foremost crucial step of NLP as far as data preprocessing is concerned. Well, moving to the next important step, which is tokenization. Where tokenization involves splitting the entire text into discrete units which are referred to as tokens. Now, these could be words or sentences or subwords. Well, basically, if you have a huge paragraph, you are splitting it into sentences. And now you are splitting the sentences into words and then words into subwords and subwords into characters and so on. Well, whenever we are breaking text into smaller chunks, smaller tokens, it is referred to as tokenization, where tokenization in fact enables feature extraction, semantic analysis, and pattern recognition across datasets. Well, let us look at the example here. The input text is given as I love NLP. And the tokenized output, that means the output we will be getting after applying tokenization, is I love NLP full stop, all of them separately. So this entire text is being broken down into individual discrete units referred to as tokens. Now, the main purpose of tokenization is we would be able to focus on these individual tokens properly to understand what exactly each token in fact means. Well, now that we have understood what tokenization is, moving to the next pre-processing technique, which is stop word removal. Now, stop word removal is basically done to cut off the noise. It involves removing all of the stop words, which is basically the high frequency words. Words like the, is, and, of, in, all of these appear everywhere, but they carry minimal semantic meaning. There is not much meaning that these words carry, and that is why they hold very little value for NLP tasks. When we remove all of these words, the entire vocabulary shrinks by 30 to 40%. This way, we would be able to focus on meaning. We would be able to highlight the content rich words that actually are conveying the topic. And since we are able to shrink the vocabulary, focus on meaning, models would train faster and achieve better results when they are focusing on informative tokens rather than all of these stop words that hold no meaning. Well, now that we have understood stop word removal, talking about the next pre-processing techniques, which is stemming and lemmatization. Well, stemming is a fast rule-based technique that chops word endings to extract the root form. Well, examples of these include running to run, flies to fly. Now here, basically what we are observing is all of these words are broken down to extract the root form of it. The root form of running is run, flies is fly, and so on. Now, stemming is best for speed critical applications, search engines, and large scale processing. Talking about lemmatization, well, it is a sophisticated approach that uses vocabulary databases and analysis to return actual dictionary words based on context. Well, better to good, running to run, geese to goose, and this is best for accuracy critical tasks, sentiment analysis, and information extraction. Now, one major difference that we must know between stemming and lemmatization. Both of them appear to be quite similar because they are breaking down the word into its root form. But stemming crudely chops away the endings to get the base form or the root form, whereas lemmatization is all about getting to the actual base form which holds meaning. Now it ensures that we are not just chopping the word endings to get to a base form, but we are ensuring that the base form holds meaning. Well, that is why lemmatization is actually very crucial for accuracy critical tasks where we do not just want to rely on speed but also need to ensure that the words hold meaning and give accurate responses. Well, moving to the next pre-processing technique, which is parts of speech tagging and named entity recognition. Well, what happens in POS tagging or parts of speech tagging is we are going to label each word with its grammatical role. Now, parts of speech is the grammatical role or the grammatical structure that a word lies in, whether it is a noun, verb, adjective, or an adverb. Now, if we pass the sentence, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, this way each and every word here would be classified as one of the parts of speech tags. Well, the stands for determiner, quick stands for adjective, brown stands for adjective, fox stands for noun, and jump stands for a verb. Talking about what named entity recognition is, it identifies and classifies named entities. It classifies these entities like people, organizations, locations, dates, and monetary values within text. For example, Apple Inc. announced earnings in Cupertino on January 15th. Apple is classified as an organization, Cupertino as location, January 15th as date. And in fact, these techniques of parts of speech tagging and named entity recognition enable advanced applications like question answering, information extraction, machine translation, and contextual understanding. It is very important for a machine to firstly understand parts of speech, which part of speech the particular word actually lies in, and which named entity does a particular word actually stand for. Well, this is very important in cases where there is a word that can actually fall under two or more parts of the speech. For example, I know her well. I know her well is describing how well I know her, and this is in fact an adverb. But now, if I tell something like there is a well in the village, here well stands for a noun. Now, it is the same exact word WELL, but it has different meanings and different parts of speech. Now, unless you properly specify parts of the speech, the machine would not clearly be able to understand which particular well you are actually talking about, unless it, understands and reads the entire sentence at stretch. And well, that is one of the main reasons why parts of speech tagging and named entity recognition are very important as far as pre-processing is concerned. Well, overall, that we have talked about all of these NLP pre-processing techniques, we have understood that clean data leads to smart models. In fact, the difference between a very normal average NLP system and an exceptional one often comes down to the quality and thoughtfulness actually put down on pre-processing. And that is why pre-processing is very important as far as working with natural language processing models is concerned. Thank you so much. Please do like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more interesting videos on NLP and AI techniques.